Hello folks, I'm Michael with BC Hobbies, and this is the Bowser HO Scale Alco Century 630. The Alco Centuries were a series of diesel-electric locomotives built in the 1960s and 70s for various North American railroads. The 630 was a 6-axle version with a 3,000 horsepower 16-cylinder diesel engine. Although most Centuries were built by Alco in New York, the Montreal Locomotive Works of Canada produced a variant called the 630M, which was widely used on Canadian and Mexican railways. Many 630s are still in service today on various short-line railroads. Bowser's model comes in many different variations with unique detailing for each prototype. This one is based on one of the 26 examples built in Montreal for British Columbia Railways. Bowser has an excellent reputation for HO scale diesels, and this one is no exception. The detail is very fine and there's plenty of it, right down to the see-through vents and separately applied windshield wipers. The handrails are plastic and very thin, but they don't feel as fragile as most other plastic handrails I've seen, and the color matches perfectly. The BC Rail livery is accurate and sharply painted, including these tiny warning labels that are only readable under a magnifying glass. All of the grab irons and similar details are separately applied. The only visual downside is that there's no cab interior, but it's barely noticeable. One slight oddity I noticed was that all of the wheel sets have considerable room for side-to-side movement in the trucks. I'm guessing this is intended to help the locomotive get around tight curves. It ran very well on my layout's 18-inch radius curves, and you wouldn't really want to run a 6-axle locomotive around tighter turns than that anyway. The model is available with or without DCC and sound. This is the DCC and sound version, and it retails for $400 Canadian. It comes with an ESU lock sound decoder, which is one of my favorite decoders that we've tested. The Rapido models we reviewed also used lock sound, and I was really impressed with the sound on those. Like other lock sound decoders, the sound is muted when you first power it up. Function 8 unmutes the sound and plays the engine startup sequence. Function 0 turns on the lights. As usual, functions 1 and 2 toggle the bell and horn respectively. The horn sounds especially good on this model, and it reacts quickly enough that you can do realistic horn signals pretty easily. The sound is very crisp, clear, and realistic, and the volume levels of the different sounds are balanced well. Like most sound decoders, of course, it is very loud from the factory, but you can turn the volume down using CV63. The mechanism is quiet enough that you can keep the volume at quite a low level and still hear it clearly. Low speed creep is very good, although there is a bit of a delay in the throttle response, but that's normal for a lot of DCC engines. This is probably the best sounding diesel locomotive we've tested so far, and even for a steam fan like myself, the Alco was a pleasure to run. I really can't think of anything to nitpick. It did everything I asked of it, and it's just a very competent, well-engineered model. Well folks, that about wraps up our review of the Bowser Alco Century 630. This is a really well-rounded locomotive that looks, sounds, and runs fantastic. And for HO scale modelers of BC Rail, or any other line that ran these iconic locomotives, this model is a must-have. To get your Alco Century, visit us at BC Hobbies or online at bchobbies.com. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. I'm Michael, and I will see you next time.